All right, all right. We are going to hop in here, clicking into RetroCraft. Let me hop this over. Boom. Boom. All right. So, things have happened. Is the sun going up or going down? Oh, the sun is definitely going down. Okay. So we need to rest. We need to sleep. If you were not here on the last stream, we got our first bit of netherite and we put it on a diamond pick. So now we have our first netherite pick and I put silk touch on it. So that's going to stay there. It's kind of my only real achievement from last stream. It was, yeah, it was not good. I died a lot last stream, like a lot. It was not a very pleasant experience. Got some nether items. Got some crying obsidian. Fire charges that we got from some very helpful piglins. Lots of glowstone. We don't have any more name tags, so we can't name Norbert's friends. Let's see. Oh, let's go over and let me see if I can ride on this. There we go. Norbert! That's Norbert. That's Douglas, but I haven't named him yet. And that one's Quincy. So, yeah. So I'm thinking Norbert, Douglas, Quincy. Hello. Oh, gosh. Ugh. So aggressive. Okay. Let's take care of some housekeeping stuff while we're here. And then we're going to do a bit of mining. Then we are going to... Oh, gosh. Sorry, gentlemen. Jeez. We are going to do some mining. And then we're going to start moving villagers around. I haven't figured out how I want to set up an iron farm yet, but I will. That's kind of my next big project, is starting villager breeding in an iron farm. Yeah. Iron farm I think will be nice. We need to make sure it's not next to that. So I may put it over there. So yeah. Okay. So let's go around this way. So the trio, the boys, do not take us out. Let's go breed up our animals over here. Breed. Whoa! That pig jumped up so high. It was ridiculous. Awesome. And then we will... I was going to say, there's got to be more cows than that. Oh, I'm just feeding the little cow. Okay. Don't want to do that. The calf, not just the little cow. The calf. Hold. All right. There's a boat. That's not our boat. Our boat is over here. And turning you around. Okay. So let's start our mining venture. We've got crops that the beets look good. They're almost done. Wheat's being kind of slow. That's kind of ish. And we'll wait more for pumpkins and stuff. But we need to kind of get geared up to mine stuff. Let's see. Ooh, I have pantalones. Ooh, uno pantalones. We need a hat. We need some pants. And where's my boots? Boots, 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 boots. Oh, speaking of boots, weird transition. I know. I just made pants and I had pants. Weird transition. So, I last Friday, I think. Yeah, Friday or Saturday. It was over the weekend. That's all that really matters. I rented some kids movies. My wife and I did for our daughters, and they had a blast. They loved it. First we watched, let's see, what was it? See, we rented the Dora movie, and then now I have to figure it out. I have to know what movie did we rent. Um so we rented Dora, which was actually fantastic. It was really, really good. Um the whole movie was just ridiculous. Trolls World Tour, that's what it was. So the second Trolls movie, which was pretty good. Hey Carly. They kind of they hit on some really good topics, especially for a kids movie. I loved it. Um, talking about our differences aren't what make us um our differences are what make us special and how we enjoy those differences, which I thought was a really good way to do that. And it talked about like erasure, like revisionist history in a way, which I thought was a really, especially now, a really excellent thing to discuss for like, but they did it on a from a kid's perspective. So it was very well handled. Um very appropriate, very well done. And I enjoyed it. Music wasn't as good this time around. I think some of it came from the fact that there wasn't really as much originality with the music. It was a lot more covers, which the first one was pretty much mostly covers, like 90% of it was. But um but other than that, it was interesting. Lots of good celebrity voices in it. Ozzy Osbourne is in it. He plays the Rocker Troll's dad, and so that was really really cool. Um, and then so back to the highlight though, the Dora live action movie is legit. Like it is so good. Um, it if you have kids that are fan of the show or know of the show in any way, they'll pick up on all the references, of course. But the movie itself, like it has that, like a lot of kids movies have that adult humor that kind of cuts through a little bit, um, to where only adults would understand, and it was so good, and like of course it does like the obvious like poop jokes and things like that in it, which tend to go on quite a long time. But other than that, I thought it was so funny. I was laughing hysterically. And Danny Trejo voices Boots. It's just so great. You know, a very ethnically diverse cast. Um, it was super cool. I enjoyed it. It was awesome. And my my daughters really liked the movie too, which made it just as much fun. So we were all laughing together at some of the funny jokes and things. So it was good. I had a blast. I love watching kids movies. Kids movies are so much fun because you suspend so much belief and um suspend your disbelief and throw the rules out the window, and it's just lots of fun. All right, let's do this. Boom, boom, and boom, 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 boom. All right, all loaded up. Let's throw you in there. And ooh, I need torches too. Oh, almost. Um, don't need that many torches there. Boom. All right. And now we are loaded up. Yes, this is a solo world. This is just single player world that I found a cool seed that had some biomes that were close together, scoped it out a little bit, and found a good spot. So yeah, so all my streams are loaded onto playlists on my YouTube channel. So I have a playlist just for this world. So, and this is only my 5th stream on this. Gosh, I need to raise the ceiling. We're doing that too. Add that to the list today. So we're mining. We're gonna raise the ceiling. We're gonna move some villagers around. Those are our main tasks for the stream. So I think 2 streams ago we figured out the block palette for my mine. I like a very grand design in my mines. So I like this. Gonna build a nice gentle arch and a little bit of depth with some colors that some are complementary, some kind of clash, but I think it'll work. And down in the middle will be a dropped down water line that will shoot items up eventually. So we could mine, dump out all of our stuff that we mined. The items go up into a sorting system to go to storage. That's the plan. But that's like, that's a long time. That I think is going to be a few. I locked myself in again. That's going to be a few streams from now at least. So I need to grab a button. And we place button on the floor? Yes, button on the floor. Okay. Left side hinge. All right. So I do this weird thing, Clawley, that I have to space out my light sources 5 blocks or 4 blocks in between. So every 5th block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not like the most efficient way, I think, but it's just a habit that I've done since I've been playing Minecraft for a while, and I can't break myself of it. The only time I ever break myself of that habit is when I go caving. I spam torches just flat on the ground. If you do it on the side, it loses a little bit of coverage, which is the only thing I care about on that. But 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got some iron. We need it desperately. Yeah, it's one of those things, like, even how I organize my inventory is one of the weird things that I do. Like, I put my tools down here, and then I stack them vertically of my spares, so when I break all my stone things, I'll just drop down the iron ones. I always have a crafting table, furnace, some extra planks, extra sticks, and coal. Right here is where I put an ender chest. So it's always like my food will be here, and then I'll put a bow here, or vice versa. Like I swap them sometimes. When I want to spice things up, I'll swap it around, throw myself off for a little bit. But yeah, it's just a weird thing. I don't know. There is no real rhyme or reason. It's just a way that I feel comfortable, especially like hitting 1, 2, 3, 4 for my number pad. So I have this thing also where I like to hear the Minecraft music, which is why I don't have music playing. But the music isn't consistent. And I just want to hear the Minecraft music. Just play Minecraft music. But yeah. So how was your day? I remember you telling me that you stay home with your kiddo. How was your day staying home? Because I stayed home, but not with my kiddos. I've been doing work from home the past. We've got diamonds. I've been staying home, or I've been working from home past couple months. So it hasn't been difficult to work from home, but it's definitely been different. Going from teaching to social work in an office, like a traditional office space with cubicles and stuff, was kind of a bigger change than going from that office space to working from home. Working from home, it's nice. I get to just sit in t-shirt and gym shorts. So it was very nice. Oh yeah, same old, same old. Some days are kind of like that. When my kids were home, because my wife was home, she works at a daycare, and so the daycare had to close down, and so they were all on. They got to draw unemployment and all that good stuff. Um, so my wife was home, and the girls were home. My two girls were home, and I could hear them running around upstairs while I'm working. And so every little bit, when I had some free time, I would go upstairs and play with them and interact, and you know, I would be the bad guy when they weren't being very good listeners. I had to go put on my Thunder Dad voice, um, which it's like I hate that it's a thing, but it's totally a thing that there's like there's a certain tone of voice, the deeper, louder, boomier voice that kids will, pops them out of their little focus. Cracks me up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A necessary tool we all hate to use. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. And usually I just kind of I'll kind of, bark the loud voice just to get their attention, and then I bring it back down to my nice kind of pleasant tone where I'm like, is this something we should be doing? Are we being very good listeners for mommy? Usually that's how the conversation goes. I'm like, and then they look at me and I'm like, okay, let's do better. Like I just bring it right back down again because I don't like to be that loud. I'm a bigger guy, so it's more difficult for me to look unassuming than it is for me to look threatening. So I try to keep myself as reserved in my demeanor as possible because I don't want to use my size and loud voice to intimidate, um, which is funny because like even when I'm like having discussions, like with people, like a heated discussion, I get louder, and people think that I'm getting louder because I'm just trying to yell over, and I'm like, no, 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 it's just my natural voice tone coming out because I'm losing that focus to have a discussion, and I just get loud. Um, it's again not something I like to do or even try to do. It's my natural tone of voice that I try to limit as much as I can, which is different. Like when you're texting and typing and stuff, then everything seems really bad. Like it's devoid of tone. So I try to treat everything like I read it. You ever do the thing where you read it and you know the person is being sarcastic, so you read it with sarcasm, or you assume they're being sarcastic, so you read it with that added sarcasm, like well, you add the little nuances of that. That I try so hard not to do that, like because you can't tell tone from text a lot, especially in interpersonal text, like text between people or message rooms, like chat rooms or anything like that. Unless someone is being blatantly obvious with the vocabulary that they're using, it's really difficult to distinguish like if someone's being non-threatening or trying to stir the pot or whatever. But which, funny enough, actually happened today. But I won't talk about that. I actually had a job interview this morning. 8:45 in the morning. And it was okay. Yeah. I don't I don't even know. Like after everything happened, I just kind of sat here like, what was that? Like because I was legitimately just like watching stream, checking Facebook, then I look at chat, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what I think about it, and then I'd go back and see, and then there would be, he would talk about things, and I'd be like, oh, okay. So I didn't type a response, and then I'd see other people's responses, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, we're all sitting back here with our keyboards, feeling safe. So I wasn't mad. I'm still not mad. I just, I don't know. I'm I was probably the source of a lot of the I guess not threatening in a like mortality sense, but threatening in a posturization sense, because dissenting opinions, and when you don't agree, it's hard. It is very difficult for people when they don't agree to just say, you know what? It's like I can even yeah. It was like this is my mindset, and I try not to play the fence a lot. But it happens because a lot of things are a matter of opinion. So you kind of have to play the fence, but you can still defend your opinion while understanding someone else's side, and understand that their side is very valid in the points that they're making to defend their opinion. But it doesn't mean that you have to agree with their opinion or outright attack the opinion and blaspheme it with colorful language or colorful examples. So like when I think back on that, I hope that fun or thoughtful discussions on different things can be handled better. I think between everybody, myself included. But that was in the past. Look towards the future. It was literally hours ago. So no big deal for me. Is it sad that I feel better now that the stone pick just broke, so I don't have to worry about switching back and forth? We've got no. I was gonna say, oh, we've got some good stuff already so far, and we don't. We don't have a lot. We got some diamonds, a little bit of iron, some redstone. But I died so many times. I hope so. I really hope people will calm down. I would hate for people to feel spite from a discussion that was purely a disagreement of opinion on something as metaphysical as as that topic was. Like, it's not like we were debating hot topics there. It was a very little piece of human philosophy that we were exchanging ideas on. So I would hate to see heated emotions because of that still. Like, if it was something where we are like defending human rights, or you have a long-standing position on a certain very touchy subject, like see, and I don't even like to say those hot topic words like the A word, and because that word always like comes back and gets hit hard, but and abortion or religion and politics is always a really, really toxic conversation, and some of it, like, it's necessary to be toxic. I feel, because if you don't point out the inconsistencies, I think, in a lot of inconsistencies in a lot of people's foundations of their politics, they don't really understand maybe the lunacy or the perceived lunacy from the opposing side. Um, it's very difficult to to think that someone would find your position to be ridiculous if you don't if it's not ever pointed out to you the ridiculous nature of your side or of your position. Um, so, but there's ways of doing that that are a little um, more genuine and honest without being purposefully hurtful. I think you could tear down an idea all day, but being purposely hurtful or creating uh, uh, you know, colorful adjectives um, about about hypotheticals uh, about their position without ever really talking about the position itself, I think is not the correct way to do it. Yeah, time and place, and definitely, there's definitely I like one of the things. Time and place can be, could be its own debate, but there's definitely a I don't want to say the only way, but there is definitely better ways of handling these things. And if your way of handling it is avoiding it, I don't know if that's healthy, but maybe saying tabling the discussion, be like, "Ooh, this is a really hot topic. Let's table this for a different time," or "Let's table this for into where I can properly collect my thoughts on it." There is no shame in saying, you know what, I don't feel as prepared for this discussion um, as what others may be at this point. I would feel more comfortable if I could prepare my thoughts on this topic. There is nothing, there's nothing disrespectful about that. Like, if someone if someone comes out and says, you know what, I don't feel confident talking in this with my current like knowledge base on it, I would respect that way more than people just dive bombing into a conversation that that they're just going to get heated on. Um, if it's something where we're like, you know what, I don't think I know enough about your position to really argue it at this time. I know a lot about my position, but I don't really know enough about it. And the way that you're explaining your position isn't a way that I'm really getting that information. So maybe we can come back to it at another time, or maybe we could talk one on one where you could explain it in different ways, or explain it talking instead of in text form. Because, again, that nuance of voice versus nuance of text is different. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Like, I love discussion. It is like one of my favorite things. I can sit and chew on a topic for hours. Like, literally, you give me of any sort of topic, and I will come up with a discussion about it. Whether it's like if you say an animal, and I could talk about you know, the the ethical implications of eradicating that animal from our existing environment, or the ecosystem and what that entails, and I'll argue both sides of it. Like, if you tell me you have to argue for it, for eliminating an animal into extinction, I'll argue for it. I may not agree with that argument, and I probably don't, but I'll argue for it. I enjoy those because it's a nice way to get in a different headspace for different positions, so you can kind of see where they get their ideas from. I think it's important to have that, which is why speech and debate class is very important. Because then you learn a lot of the rules. Um, One of my least favorite debaters that is of an opposing political spectrum than me, not because they're not a smart individual, and not because they are um, uneducated on topics, but because I don't like the way they debate. They use very nasty tactics. Ben Shapiro, I think he's a very smart guy. Very smart. He is probably like, if I were to say, like, if I was a liberal representative arguing something, and he was the conservative representative, arguing the opposition, I would concede because he is a very knowledgeable person. But the concession I would make wouldn't solely be based on him being educated. It would also be based on the fact that he uses some pretty dirty tactics. He talks over people. He has a bullet point list of things to quote for a lot of the common responses he gets, and he memorizes them beautifully. Um, he is good at using those dirty tactics. And he comes off as a jerk for it, which I think he likes because he definitely doesn't show a lot of redeeming qualities outside of debate forums when it comes to, like, if he were to laugh it off and say, at the end of the day, these are, it's a difference of opinion, and I'm just arguing this opinion. If he in a in an interview, discuss those things in a very redeeming way, where it kind of showed that, he's a human with an opinion. He's not anyone who's really making the decisions. He's not someone who's in charge who gets to legislate. So his opinion isn't as important, on the large scale of things as what others are. So, it's a little less harmful than a lot of people realize. So if he had some redeeming qualities in framing that, I think he would. I think I would respect him a little bit more, but I still wouldn't respect him as a as a debater or someone in debate, because he just uses nasty tactics, and he fast talks. I hate his fast talk. There's a really weird phenomenon that the more you talk, and I do it too, and I loathe the fact that I talk so much. But he talks really fast, and he gets all of his points out, and he's very articulate, and he enunciates very well. So he gets all these studies and all these different links that you can go to and all these different sites, and so he talks really, really fast. And we have this really weird phenomenon where we attribute correctness or intelligence with talking more and talking faster, and being able to deliver those statements as quickly and confidently as possible. There's kind of the pop culture reference of not pop culture, but kind of like the pop science reference of the more confident you are in debate, the higher likelihood you are of winning that debate, even if you are less knowledgeable. He definitely has a lot of confidence when it comes to his debate tactics, and I think that's part of my assumed nastiness of them. But I think he'd be a cool guy to, like, get a beer with and just talk without a debate. I think I would have an enjoyable, like, just person-to-person, non-debate style discussion, where we can be like, what, I think this, and these are the reasons why. Like, oh, you think that for those reasons, okay. And we can talk about the moral superiority of those, in a different context, without the kind of the illusion and the drapes of a publicized debate. But yeah, but getting back to a point that I made earlier, I love discussing things. Like seriously, if you gave me a topic, I will make up a discussion about it. I love it. It's great. It's one of my favorite things. When I was teaching, I would do it with my students. When we'd have extra time, I would either let them facilitate a debate or a little side discussion, or I would offer up topics, topics that were at their level of understanding. Maybe I would take a current world topic or political topic and frame it in a way that was kid friendly, to where they could have it in kid friendly terms that they understood more accurately at their experience level, which was always interesting, because you could definitely see what kids have actually thought about it before. You know, it's very strange to see how kids think about their place in the world, think about the longevity of their own ideas, and society as a whole, versus the kids who maybe listen to what their parents say and just kind of nod along, and kind of seeing where maybe not where they fall along on the political spectrum, because that really doesn't matter. It's more of where they fall on the support of their own individualism and of their own ideas. I think is super interesting. Like listening to a fifth grader try to come up with an argument to defend a point is interesting, because they do that all the time. You know, when they disagree with their parents, or when they disagree with the adult figure or authority figure that is with them at that particular moment, they'll defend something right then. They're not knowing that they're defending, they're making they're posting an argument right then. So it's interesting to see it in a more formal setting how they do it. There's that sweet Minecraft music. Ooh, a little bit more. And I'm so glad I decided a little bit more. We got more diamonds. Super happy about this. Is that it? Oh, there's more. There is more. And more. Is that it? That is it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, let's go back. So, we've got a stack and a half-ish of redstone, got a whole stack, and a bit of iron, quarter stack of gold, got about half a stack of coal that we have, been turning into torches, a little bit of flint, don't really care about it. Almost a whole stack of lapis. That's exciting. Maybe I should go in the nether too. I don't know. I don't want to make my checklist too big, especially since we are almost 45 minutes into stream so far. I don't want to make my checklist too big, but I might peek in them. But on my last stream, Clawley, I got stuck in a bastion and kept dying. It was so bad. I died a lot. I died so much. And don't you yell at me, Quincy. And so like I had to come back, grab stuff, go back, and I finally just got to the point after like my third death. I was like, okay, new strategy. So I got some cobblestone and went and just got in there, got some stuff, picked up some items, and then just tunneled my way out. I felt so like vindicated from it. It was great. Let's put you there. And you there. So 1, 2, 3. Ooh, let's actually turn some of you and these. Then put you here. Actually, let's do it this way. And let's just even them all out. Let's make them all the same. Okay. We need more chests, is what we need. Let's put all cobble in here. Let's just do that. Let's do that. Let's get you out of here because you are not organized in there, and I can just reorganize you over here. Be a lot better. Take this. Yeah, let's do that. And then there we go. Okay. And we'll put that there. And then let's put stone here at the top. There. And then gravel. And then we'll put the fancy stone. Ooh, let's put that right there. Fancy stone. More gravel. And then there. And then there. And there. Boom. Add that in there. Craft that up into blocks. Craft that up into blocks. Boom, 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 boom. All right. So while all that's melting up, let's go and tend the crops. Tend the crops. And then let's take out the potatoes. The potatoes! Potatoes! Alright, come over here. Did I miss any taters? I did not miss any potatoes. Any taters. I love and hate kind of that Midwestern draw. Like, I love it for like 5 seconds, and then I'm done with it. And being in Missouri, you get a little of it, not a whole lot. There isn't a whole lot of Midwestern draw in things, but it, like, when it hits, people hit it hard, and that's so weird to me. Like that's the linguistic hill you die on, having that draw. I just find it strange. Oh, we need to. It has been a day-night cycle, so we will take this. We will take this, and that's it. And we are going to go feed and breed. Oh, that's a weird thing. I'm never saying that again. What was that? Oh, someone followed me. Was that the sound I heard? Hello, Clawling. I think that's the sound I heard. Sound scared me for a second. Who is shooting at me? Who would dare do such a thing? Breeding sheep. Breeding sheep. Breeding sheep. Breeding piggies. Making pig sounds is one of my favorite. I don't know. I don't like that sound. That's a weird sound. Oh, gosh. I feel like I need to, like, vacate the area. The little, like, they're, like, bumping into each other, and it's like a boom. It's like a like a subwoofer sound, and that's their breeding sound. Just makes you go, like, I don't need to hear this. Feel dirty. Boys, are we being nice? Okay. All right. Be nice. What else? What else? All right. So let's go with. Ooh, let's do mine stuff. Mining things. Okay. So take that. Take that. Well, let me check my block palette. Stop it. So I need more chocolate stairs. Chocolate stairs. Chocolate stairs. Chocolate. 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 What else do I need? So I've got my chocolate steps. I'm gonna raise the ceiling on the tunnel because this is aggravating. So we need blocks. We have doors. We have iron doors. We have iron door. Okay. I need andesite, stairs, and blocks. Let's see. Okay. So red, stair, block. White, stair. No. Gray, stair, block. We need the chiseled stone. We need Choco, slab, stair, probably more iron doors. Okay. Ooh, and red slabs. Okay. I hear things. Where am I hearing things from? Hear the bat. To you too. Okay. So let's pop some of these stairs on. Oh, I don't know what we're gonna do for the ceiling yet. We could come up with that as we tear it down. Maybe we can try out some blocks. Try some things out, see how they stick. Huh. I love pillagers so much. Huh. 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 I love it. Huh. Huh. I wish there were verbal commands, like you could use your mic to talk to things in Minecraft. Oh man, that would like elevate the game to like a completely different thing. Oh wow, that would be fantastic. That would be so good. Is that really all of the? No, that can't be it. Of those blocks that I've got? Wow. I guess I did craft a lot in the stairs. Okay. Actually, I don't think I needed to do that. Do you ever regret something? I just did. Chiseled. Need the chiseled. We don't need a whole lot. We'll need this. I did not mention that, but we will need it, I think. Need white stairs, which we will make. Need Choco slabs and stairs. So let's do this. And boom, boom. And keep these stairs. Let's see. What could we do? What could we possibly do? Ooh, we do have that stone. Let's see. What could we do with the stone? Nope, don't like it. Too basic. I'm going to have to smelt it. It's just going to have to be done. Ba-da-doom. Boom. Okay, we're going to do that. That. Let's just put you back for now. Sleep. All right, let's wait on this for a second so we can throw that into the thing with the stuff. Thing and the stuff. I'm being very scientific at this point. How are you going? Okay, that's 5. That's not nearly enough, but I'm going to take a little bit just to see what it looks like, and we are going to turn you into slabs. There we go. There it is. Okay. So let's start bumping the roof up. Or start here. Norbert, I'm getting a little closer to you. I won't invade your space. Once I build a house... Ooh. We could start laying out the sphere. Oh. Oh. Like, I'm excited to do it, but it's also like super, 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 super scary. Oh gosh. Let's see. How am I gonna do this? Let's do one of these. There we go. There we go. What's happening? What's dying? Who hit you? Who hurt you? No one? Okay. I got very protective. They're my boys, and they're all I have. Boom. Boom. How dare you? It feels so much better already to walk down this mine. So much better. And when I add blocks to it, I'm going to be like adding and replacing. So the difference in height here isn't going to change, which I think will be very helpful. That way I don't, create the same problem that I just got rid of. Because that would not be good. So on the Patreon server, Clawley, I started my chorus fruit and flower farming. And boy, is it tedious. It needs so much, like, it just needs so much. There's a way I can kind of automate some of it. The chorus flower, yes, the chorus flower farming, I can automate to a degree. So you can use it to make purple blocks. So the different kinds of purple blocks, you can use the popped chorus fruit when you put it in a smithing table or an oven. You not a smithing, furnace. A furnace. When you put it into a furnace, it becomes popped, and then you can use that to make purple blocks, which are the bright purple blocks from the end. You could also use them and blaze rods to make end rods, which is, I like them as a lighting material. I think they're really good lighting material, actually. So yeah, I want to get into that. So I gotta get into that. So it's kind of I got to do one thing to get to another. I want to be able to make and use a lot of end rods. For people on the server, if they want a different lighting option instead of sea lanterns or what have you. So that's my plan. Gonna go. So after I get a good handle on the chorus flower and chorus fruit farms, I'm going to go in the nether and make myself a blaze farm and all that good stuff. Blaze farms are one of my least Blaze farms and guardian farms are two of my least favorite farms to start. Guardian farm is super awful. There are really efficient ways of clearing out the Elder Guardian and things like that, and clearing out the water or using the water. I, for one, like to clear out the water because I like to make it a build. I like to make the whole ocean monument area where the ocean guard or where the guardians spawn. I like to make that a build. I like to make something creative there. So kind of so just using the water there and just clearing out the blocks in the water, isn't something that I like to do. I like to take the time to really clear out everything. And then blaze farms are just they suck because you get hit by blazes the whole time until you block everything off and get them, sequestered. Forgot there was a little cave system there. I'm going to do one of these numbers so I make myself a door there. At least to explore more if I need to, because I feel like there's more there that I have not. And it'll be good to get rid of some of the spawning areas in there. But my plans here is for my streaming world, I used to, when I very first started Minecraft, I loved making spheres and big geometric shapes, things like that. So I want to do that. I want to play on that idea. So I'm going to use those big, very out of place spheres and shapes to make my base and make all my farms and everything. So everything's going to be in like a big grandiose kind of shape, and I want to give those shapes lots of detail. with aesthetic building. So I want to, take a lot of time in designing. I imagine I might be, once I get to base building, it's going to be like a lot of me sitting in a creative world, just going back and forth between block palettes, seeing what colors work together, what textures work together, what doesn't, what fits my kind of vision for it, what surprises me, what, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I like to build creatively a lot. So I think it adds different element to Minecraft. I love doing redstone. I don't understand redstone very well, but I like to get better at it. So I will purposefully force myself to make a machine that is out of my range of skill level, and it kind of forces me to learn it, and learn how those circuits work, and learn how like what each of the little redstone lines do, and kind of throwing me to the wolves a little bit. So that's what I think it's really fun. I just realized the symmetry here. I don't need that. I don't need you. So we're going to take you out. There we go. All right. And let's throw you down. So we can start. Yeah. Oh, no, it's 2. It's 2. Remember, friends, it's 2. And then there's 2. You skip 1, and then there's 2. All the gurring. No, I don't want the cobble. I want the granite. Give me more. There we go. Okay. And I don't need more. Okay. That worked out. Serendipitous. Serendipity. Serendipitulous. Diptulous? Serendipitulous? No, that doesn't sound right. Diptulous? No. It sounds like I'm calling someone a name when I say it like that. How do you say that word? Serendipitous? Serendipitously? Yes, serendipitously. I think that's how you say it. I guess I could say fortuitous as well. I think that works. Chiseled. I need my cookies and cream stairs. So cookies and cream stairs. And then we need these fun blocks. This white terracotta. Stairs. 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 Turn the stair, then turn the stair. Turn the stair. My natural kind of just relaxing singing always turns to lounge singing. Like I always feel like I am singing like with a cigar in one hand and a glass of scotch in another. Um, yeah, I think the design is really it's not super complicated. It's a little busy, but I really like the contrast. That's what I really kind of go for on builds like this, is just really digging into the contrast. Using the blocks. A lot of these blocks never get used. It's a good busy. Thank you. Yeah. I think a good busy. Like who builds, like who uses and makes like a crown molding like top, with andesite steps. Um, I think there's so many textures in the game. Why limit yourself to just the flat of concrete, or of the polished stone? There's so many more textures that we could be using. Um, that we have available to us. Like, utilize the poop out of them. The poop. Put the buttons in the middle. I like how buttons sit in there. Like, it throws off the square motif from the chisel block. Because if you see how the square is just right there in the center, but it perfectly sits in there as a rectangle. I love it. It kind of forces you to make you think, okay, that's a square on the outside of that rectangle. And then I just love the chocolate buttons. Chocolate buttons are so good. Ooh, I think I can actually put those chocolate buttons on the floor on a lot of these. That way I don't forget. Yeah. I end up using a lot of wood in my house builds, which is what I did on the Patreon server. Which I like because it's woodland mansion feeling. But I'm using different wood texture. So I'm using, oh gosh, what am I using on that? I'm using spruce as like an accent wood on the outside. I'm using chiseled stone. I'm using dark oak because I love the chocolate wood. Um, I'm also using birch on the floor and ceiling. So birch on the ceiling of the first floor and the floor on the second floor. And then for the walls, I'm using stripped dark oak, and I think that looks so good. Yeah. Okay, I need andesite blocks. That's what I need. But yeah, I'm using the stripped oak. The stripped wood, like, I'm so glad that they added that. That is such a nice texture. It gives us a smooth wood texture, smooth wood texture. I think that's so good. Um, you here. Oh. Meow. Meow. Okay, that might actually be just enough for the doors that I have. Oh no, I can take you. Yeah, we were gonna mess around with the stone blocks a little bit. Let's make more of these. And yeah, let's grab something else. Let's grab something complimentary. Oh, my pillager? Yeah, I love him. He is one of my favorite things that I decided I wanted to have. Um, you know what? There are other colors of terracotta. What would look that light gray looks brown. That light gray looks brown. Let me see how that looks against my chocolate steps. I don't hate it. And it's smooth and how's that go? Oh, that's so good. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. It's happening. We're going on an adventure. I need another pick. Should I make a diamond pick? Let's make a diamond pick. Just so I don't have to worry about durability as much. Okay. Because we're going to fill up on that. Light. What are you? Like gray. You do not look gray. You look like you look like a like really bad chocolate milk. That's what you look like. You look like chocolate milk that's like chocolate skim milk. Like it's barely brown. That came with a little bit more disdain than I wanted it to. But yes, chocolate skim milk. Ooh, there's a message in Discord. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I don't know why it came out as such a disdain for the color, because I like the color. Hello, horse. I like the color actually. Okay, so tangent right here. Okay, see how they have those wicked teeth? How come we don't see them use them? Like, I'm not saying make them attack the players, but we should see them chase fish. I think that would be awesome. Is if they attack, maybe randomly, like make it like a low chance, like maybe a 10% or maybe between 5 and 10% chance of them attacking like the fish. But the fish as don't run from them until they know that the squid are attacking their little mini schools, because they travel in those little mini schools. So once a squid starts like an attacking motion, it triggers in the fish AI to swim away, and so we can see more natural animal interactions. Because like a lot of the animals don't interact with each other at all; they just bump it. They just kind of blindly walk around. As if against the phantom in the community. Oh gosh. I remember that there was one. I don't remember what it looked like. The sea creature that was up against the phantom. Honestly, I thought that the community vote was a fake out. I thought they were just going to give us all three. I thought that they were going to, yeah, it looked terrifying. And, you know, how many uh, you uh, of hostile mobs are there divided out between different terrain? So in the water, the only hostile mob is what? Guardian, and now the drowned, but I meant like animal mob. So we have Guardian, okay, and then on the land, what hostile land animal do we have that's just hostile without provocation? Um, so like polar bears, we talked on the earlier today that polar bears attack when you interact with their cubs, but that's provocation. So what would be a mob that doesn't mess with you, or that does mess with you even if you're not doing anything? I know that adds like it adds a layer of difficulty, but they could be a very rare spawning mob. Like their spawn rates could be super low without reinforcement because they're uh, an animal mob entity. They don't spawn the same way as like a zombie or a skeleton would. Um, but like a lot of the hostile mobs are monsters. But like the naturally hostile mobs are monsters. Spiders being an exception because of the day-night cycle. They're non-hostile during the day, which I think is a really good effect. I think it makes spiders scary for night, but I think having a bigger variety in what is hostile and non-hostile, um, it across the mob generation, I think would be really interesting. And it would, I think, adding them little by little, slowly building out the ecosystem of Minecraft would be super beneficial for gameplay of interaction and immersion. Um, like if they, because eventually they're gonna make a VR version of Minecraft. Like there are ports of it that people work on, that people make that will run Minecraft in VR, kind of. And I would hardcore play it, no question. I would hardcore play VR Minecraft, and I wouldn't play it any other way. I think it would be amazing for immersion. I know. VR, I think VR is definitely an acquired taste. I can't do a whole lot of it. I have my PSVR, and I honestly, I think the PSVR is one of the more approachable kinds of VR, because of the price. I mean, if you already have a PS4 or a PS4 Pro, more specifically, because it runs better on that. But if you have a PS4 and you play, it is an additional cost because it's additional hardware, but it's plug and play. You just set it up, and it's just like a peripheral for your games. And a lot of games are adding VR support. Like, VR games aren't dead. More VR games are coming out. They're not as heavily publicized because I think an acquired taste is more of a niche genre, or subgenre, I guess. It's more like an ad hoc genre. Like, there are, you could play VR with anything. Driving sims, I think, would be amazing. You get so much motion sickness. Skyrim VR. Yeah, okay, so, fun fact. Before I got Skyrim for my PSVR, I had never played Skyrim. I had watched playthroughs, but I had never gotten Skyrim before. I don't play a lot of those, like, huge, like, 1,000-hour investment games. I don't play a whole lot of those. Like, the most hours I've ever put into a game that isn't, like an open-world sandbox game is probably Final Fantasy 12, just because I love the Gambit system in that, and that's one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Which is kind of blasphemous. Like, most people are like, no, you have to pick 7, 8, or 9, or maybe 4. Some people are like 6, but I really like 12. But anyway, so I never played it before, but so I played it on VR, and first I started with a controller, and I was like, okay, this is fun, this is really immersive. But then they added Move controller support, and oh my gosh, I will not play Skyrim any other way, ever. Ever. Like, even if I got it for free, because, I mean, they're putting it on every system. It's going to be, like, on smartphones soon. But I love Skyrim VR. It works perfectly. The only thing I want to work better in VR is movement. Yeah, I need to get back into my VR games. I've been neglecting them. I have a driving simulator, but I don't have the steering wheel peripheral yet. I really want it. That's my first house. That's my starter house. Right there, Clawley. But I need to get one, but I need to get back into my VR stuff. I've been playing a lot more stuff on my PC lately, but I need to sit down and make myself a schedule. Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna grab some terracotta, make myself a little house, try not to die. So, but just VR support on this, I think, would be amazing. Especially if there was, I haven't played like the HTC Vive or Oculus or anything, so I'm not confident in my assumption of how those controller schemes work. And I don't know if playing in VR with a mouse and keyboard would be best. It would be similar in immersion to playing with the controller for the PlayStation VR. It's immersive. It's immersive until you want to move your arms. That's the thing. Like, I'd want to move my arms. I'd want to move along with my game. I'd want to lift my pickaxe up with my arm and in mine. Um, I I mean, when I shot a bow for the first time on Skyrim with the move controllers, I was like, I only want to. I'm never going to shoot with a regular controller playing VR again. I love that. I like for instance, when the Wii first came out, all the motion controls to me, I love it. It's a gimmick, and it's a gimmick that worked because it got people moving and everything. And I thought that was a really interesting dynamic. Reinventing the controller, reinventing the way that you interact with your game. I think is a great way to refresh video gaming. And obviously, it had a lot of it inspired, a lot of other things like the PlayStation Move controllers and Microsoft went a different way with their Connect, but still motion-based gaming I think is great. We're getting closer and closer to that kind of Ready Player One experience where we can drop in and drop out of a video game experience virtually. And movement-based controls, I think, are a part of that. I think it needs to be movement-based with either voice commands or alternative inputs along with motion controls, just because the the finer parts of the finer elements of controlling a character or controlling in a game are lost inside of movement controls sometimes. It's hard to press a button and move. Sword Art Online, yeah, that would be cool. Like you're almost transported inside the game. Yeah, totally. Um, the escapism in video games is what a lot of people like. It's one thing to play a game to create, it's another way to play a game to escape the everyday mundane of the world. Um, that got this talk went from just VR to the philosophical nature of gaming. I like it. I like how the conversation just kind of naturally, I don't want to say spiraled because that makes it seem like it was a negative direction, but it went down that path. Without the evil game developer. Yeah. So, like, obviously there would be there would have to be like oversight for things like that when it comes to deeper immersion. Yes, the conversation evolved. I like that. That is a better way of saying it. Thank you. um, but yeah, like, I want it. I want it now. Like, I'm impatient for it. Like, the thing is like, I don't want to be 100 and finally video games are up to the point where I would enjoy video games at their pinnacle. Like I am so I'm sure like the people in that lived and died through the rise of video games um are probably jealous that their reaction times are so much slower now to be able to play games competitively at their peak as it is now. Like right now, I am very jealous of the fact that I will never be a competitive gamer anymore. Even if I had worked hard on it, after a certain age, your reaction time just slows. Your brain synapses don't fire as quickly, and that's scary. But it's an inevitability of what of aging does. And so I don't know. I'm jealous. a little jealous that I don't get that opportunity. I don't get to experience gaming like that. I'm limited to being a casual player in that kind of experience. Um, which there's nothing wrong with being a casual player, mind you. It's just, if I that choice is taken away from me because of me being just older. And I don't like that. I don't like the choice being taken out of my hands because of something I can't control, you know? Which is kind of where that conversation earlier today kind of comes from, you know? I want to be I want to be in control of why I am or am not good at something. Um, there are things I can't control, like my, age or genetics, but there, but everything else should be in my control, within my control. And darn it, it needs to be. um, but like but I also can't wait for like watching, since I have kids, watching my grandkids, if they choose to have kids, uh, play video games and what they're gonna look like. It's gonna be. Uh, I can't. I want like I'm just like envisioning, babysitting grandkids, and babysitting is like we're playing the latest video games because I hope that I maintain an interest in that. Um, that is my hope uh, for it, and so I just I need it. I need better games. Okay, so we're gonna do that, and then I'm hoping to maybe. No, I don't want to do. Do I want to do a light source here? No, I don't. I don't want to do that. So I'm gonna do that and that because I think what I'm gonna do is hide light sources in the walls. Yeah, in the walls. In the walls. But first, this. Okay. Arrow. I feel like I'm going to need to replace those because that's going to look funky later. Let's. I have dirt. I have dirt. Yeah, I do have dirt. Okay. We showed my dad Beat Saber on PS4 VR. He bought a PS4 Pro and VR set that very same day. That is amazing. I love that so much. Like it's not to patronize, but I love older gamers because it just shows that like your interest in something and like your interest in something can drive you to want to pursue it so much, like whether you were exposed to it when you were a kid or not. I love that. Oh, is he really? See, that's super cool. That's so awesome. I love that. There's like certain things I can't wait for when it comes to aging, and one of them is like playing video games and just being the crazy old guy on the block. I oh like full disclosure, like I will probably end up with some sort of dementia, Alzheimer's. There is a genetic component to it, and my grandpa passed away with dementia. And so I imagine that I will get it. Like there's a stronger likelihood. It's not a for sure thing. I'm not a geneticist, so I don't know, what the exact or the perceived percentage would be or approximate percentage would be. But I can't wait to be the senile old man on the block. Oh my gosh. I just want to like do the weird things, like drive around on my rascal scooter and like only wear the color blue, but just on Wednesdays. Like just do like very strange things. Like I don't want to do anything that's gonna put me on a list. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's something I look forward to because I know with my personality I'm gonna make it fun or make it a game. To kind of to keep the depression out. I'm gonna have to hide it behind excitement in a game. But yeah, he's freakishly good. Man. Okay, so what was it? A while back, the gaming grandma, gaming granny. I don't know what exact nomenclature she um, preferred, but the grandmother who video gamed, she would stream and play, and then she stopped because people were being really toxic to her, and I'm just like, how dare you? Why can't we have a nice sweet old lady play video games with us? Like why do we have to ruin things? Like that could have been a great like experience that we could have involved people of a different generation in, like generally speaking, people of older generations are less progressive. But if we involve them in things uh, that are our interests, where we can start sharing our perspectives across a bridge of commonality of video games, maybe there would be less of a blowback to the acceptance in certain social things. There could have been so many good things that could have come out of older generations starting to play video games. Yeah, how could you be so mean? Like, I don't even know if it was direct hostility towards her or toxic gaming culture towards her, or if it was just what she saw for other people. So I don't know. Like if I saw a community being toxic, just in general, to it didn't have to be directed at me or anything, but just in general and how they address topics or how they dealt with issues, and how fair or unfair or morally ambiguous they made things become just at at the sake of the streamer or the sake of the stream or of the game or something, kind of creating this environment that does not invite differing opinions for the basis of educating or anything. Like, I would step away from that environment even if it wasn't directed at me. And she may have done something similar. I don't know the exact situation on it, but I saw that headline. I was like, how sad. I want to play with her. I want to play Call of Duty with her because I want to hear her gamer talk. Like, I want to hear if has she adapted the gamer speak that we use, or has she come up with her own cute old lady mannerisms with it? Like, oh my god, could you imagine if she was just called everyone little darlings or something cute, something completely innocent, where you're just like, oh, I want her on my squad. I don't want to hurt her ever. Could you imagine how those streams would be? It would be could you, especially if she was honey or sweetheart? Oh yeah. Or darling, if she was southern, get that little southern darling. Oh, but could you imagine? Okay, so your squad loses or something, and you're in the waiting room, waiting for the next match to queue up, and she's giving the pep talk of, "It'll be okay, boys. We'll get through it. We're gonna work through. We need to now, Tommy. You need to focus a little better on your reloads. Okay, they're a little slow. Okay, sweetie. Could you imagine, her positive pep talk? Just imagining and coming up with my own variation of it would just just adorable. So I couldn't imagine how amazing it would have been to experience if it was anything like that. An authentic, because a lot of people in older generations are really genuine, are really authentic. There's a reason why we perceive them as being less progressive, because they don't pussyfoot around on things. They don't beat around the bush. They tell you what they mean. It's kind of like having a toddler. They will tell you exactly what they want. So it would be so awesome. Because I remember, my grandma is still living, and she but she's kind of succumbed to Parkinson's, so she's not verbal or mobile anymore. But she, I remember her teaching me how to sew. she taught me how to sew by letting me make stuffed animals. And we made stuffed animals of stuff I liked. So, like when I messed up, her words of encouragement were just they were so much different. Or watching her get flustered or frustrated when I didn't get something right was always really a fun experience. Because they don't hold anything back, but they also don't purposely try to be a jerk. It just may happen because they're flustered or frustrated and they're just being honest. So they don't know how to sugarcoat that at all. But no, I remember my grandma like teaching me how to sew, and my grandpa would teach me how to bake. He loved to bake. Um, do that stuff all the time. This is looking really good. It's a little bland. It cut like, especially with this, but yeah, less filter. They definitely had less of a filter. Like my grandpa would have some very colorful language for different marginalized groups, and you know, to be blunt, he would say very racist or misogynistic or very prejudiced things, and you call him out on it. You love him to death because he's your grandpa, but you also have to call him out on it and be like, Grandpa, that's not okay. You can't say those things. That's not nice. Um, so like he would say certain things. He could say certain words. I'm like, Grandpa, you can't say that. That is not a word you get to use. So stop it. Let's go make peanut brittle. Let's stop saying those things. Or let's watch a Western. You can listen to John Wayne be racist. You don't have to do it yourself. Yeah. And we have the privilege of looking back through time from the perspective of the present. So it's easy for us now to judge and to make those assumptions about time and about progressiveness. Um, and but like there's also the argument that they lived through the progression of things. So they have as much or more exposure to progression than we do, and yet they're some of the slower to come around to it, but some of that comes from the fact that it isn't ingrained in them from childhood. So there's a lot of like, well, it's this, and then you go back to this side, then you go back to this side, and it kind of goes back and forth. So it's there's a lot of discourse on that subject. Back in his day, that was the cultural norm. Not that it made it right or okay, but it was what he knew. Yeah, and what he thought was what the expectations culturally, societally were um defined define you. They are what make you you. Um and a lot of people like to think that, well, I'm not going to be that prejudiced with new ideas in the future. And for the most part, I think we won't, just because I think we're at a point now where we're at a pinnacle of acceptance, um, where a lot of people are looking at new ideas and thinking critically about them and how to question their own bias about it. I think now we're at a time where it's becoming acceptable to question your own bias and correct it. So I think that uh, we are getting better at that now, and I think it'll be easier for us to be more progressive in the future. But I don't think we're going to be perfect at it. Like I honestly um, don't think that we are going to be um, without fault in that. Like even so like think of people who are a little older than me, maybe because I'm in my early 30s. People maybe in their late 30s, early 40s on their acceptance of trans individuals and that community. They may be completely understanding and progressive and accepting on their own bias in terms of the LGBT community without the T. You know, they may not understand or accept the the notion or suggestion that you could be born, in a lack of better terms, born in the wrong body, even though it's much more nuanced than that, and it's much more um, deep and very internalized and externalized, physically too. With that, you see a lot of progressives still struggle to rectify that. Um, and they would identify, and before those instances where we would question that progression, we would assume they were a social progressive, someone who would not be prejudiced. But when positioned with a new idea, they reacted prejudiciously. I don't even know if that's how you say that word. They acted with prejudice is what I'm saying. And it's really easy to do, and it's really easy to judge that because you know we may be a little younger and a little bit more accepting. So there's a lot of I think there needs to be a lot more discussion instead of outright like ban hammering your friends and family because of those things. Some people take time. Like, I remember growing up, and the thought of being homosexual was like, you brought it up in any way, it was like obscenity after obscenity after obscenity, in my house, in my house when I was a kid. And me being a kid and kind of going with the flow, you kind of mimic what the adults around you do, so you don't feel picked on or pressured. Looking back on that now, I wish I would have, been stood up for myself a little bit more in my thoughts and feelings on those things. But when you're, who like we can't rely on kids to be the heroes. Adults have to be the people that pave the way for that. But that's a different topic. Um, but now, like, my mom and that generation isn't the most accepting, but they have made progress since, in my opinion and in my perspective, my anecdotal perspective, they've probably made, I would say, noticeable progress in their acceptance. And it's not perfect though, which we strive for perfection when it comes to being progressive. I just keep going in and out. I need to stop it. Okay. But yeah, I think it's something that's very interesting. I grew up in a very small town with little diversity. Having grown up, I look back and see the ideals that were just normal and how I don't agree with them. Yeah, and it's weird because I grew up in smaller towns, like towns of 2 or 3 or 4,000, and then went to a super small town of 350, where there were only two people of color, like, in the whole town, two kids of color in the whole town. They were brothers, and they were. I made friends with them before I started going to school there, so I had known them, and so I would interact with them, and I'd hang out. We'd get in trouble together, or hang out at each other's houses, and just do dumb stuff. And then, like, I noticed how they were being treated in that town the more and more I was there. We would get followed around in the grocery store, and at first I thought, oh, well, they're following around teenage boys in the grocery store thinking we're not going to steal something. But when I brought it up to them, they're like, no, they're totally following us because we're black. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm like, that totally makes sense. Small towns are really kind of racist. And and going to school there, yeah, it is super sad. But me being a naive white kid at the time, I didn't put those two and two together. I assumed something different. My assumption was something different. Um, and and it wasn't like, uh, I grew up in a racially ambiguous house or anything. Like, I heard I heard the N word being dropped in my house a lot, in terms to describe people of color, and people from other countries. They would use other awful obscenities. Um, but when you're, ooh, I have another name tag. But when you're a kid, you don't really notice how it affects people until you start interacting with that group of marginalized people, and how you see it affecting them. Like, I didn't really become more socially accepting because I didn't really have a personal experience with it, with people who are homosexual or of the LGBT community, LGBT. LGBTQ plus community, and Douglas Quincy, I will get a name tag for you soon. Um, I I didn't have a lot of experience interacting with anyone from that community because being in smaller towns, it didn't come up as much, and when it did, they were immediately labeled social outcasts, and you didn't hang out with them and things like that. So it wasn't until, like, I would think honestly until I got to college, like, shamefully to say, uh, that I really got to see some of the bigotry that was propelled at that marginalized group, and it hurt because I had made friends with those people as people first. Um, maybe them coming out to me later on, or it being known that they were out before we were friends, but seeing bigotry spewed at them, and like this vile language being used, and it seeing how they reacted, sometimes in nothing, they reacted with complete, like, no emotion, or with like a fire behind them. um it was one of those things that it's hard to experience. It's hard to experience that until you've experienced it. It's hard to know what that feels like until you felt it. So, and I felt it indirectly because I wasn't the target. Um, and so those are the experiences I always look back on and think, okay, how can I identify with this community so I can build empathy and start building progress to acceptance. If I don't have an immediate reaction of acceptance, like what is this community, and how can I be a part of it in a form of an ally or something. I remember when the first openly gay kid moved into our town, he was treated so badly by the other residents. Yeah, um, gay men specifically treated horribly. Gay women are objectified horribly, like fetishized, not objectified, fetishized. Women themselves are objectified, um, but I would say gay women are fetishized, like, to the extreme. Everyone hoots and hollers when two girls kiss at a party, but when two dudes do it, it's like, people react in the most disgusting display of human behavior, and how they treat that kind of display, like having someone come out to you, um and that's a different, emotional feeling, and then seeing that they don't openly express their love for their partner in public because they know it freaks people out, is a different, completely other emotional reaction. It's one of those that, like, I I wish it could be different. Like, I wish things were different. I wish things didn't have to be that hard for people. But um, it's just, there's a strangeness to reality, and I don't like it. Uh, but anyway, Minecraft. Oh man. Uh, I'm going to use you. I'm going to make some glass, and actually, I'm going to make a pick too. The So the center of my mine is going to have that tunnel. Feel, never understand the hate people feel for others for the different way they live their lives. Very religious, makes me really sad to see Christians treat people poorly. Yeah, religious indifference or religious interference of things is like a whole nother topic. I myself am not religious. My wife was raised Catholic. I was kind of my story with religion is kind of weird because I me being really naive, I'm still a very naive person. If someone tells me something, I don't always immediately suspect sarcasm or that there's a hidden agenda behind it. So I'll believe people at first. I have to stop and question myself a lot of the times on if they're being genuine or not. But to go with that, when I was a kid, we went to Sunday school, and I remember a lot of the things that we did, and a lot of them were really fun. I had a lot of positive experiences. Um, I liked going to Sunday school because I got to draw, I got to color, and I like to do that. I got to listen to cool stories that I thought were really interesting. But I never put the two together that people thought the stories were real, like it was a real factual thing. I never put that together. Um, I don't know why. I guess like my grandma would read to me all the time. Okay, so that's glass here, wall, water on here. So we need walls here. Okay. Um, my grandma would read to me stories all the time. When I would stay the night, she would read to us, my little brother, I think my older sister too got read to. We would get read to all the time. And when I thought, the stories were really interesting, it had characters. Sometimes those stories were really obvious in the lesson they taught you about maybe greed or patience or whatever kind of virtue or moral uh, subject that they were trying to help kids understand in a way of fiction. And I thought that that's what the stories that we learned in Sunday school was. Like, I didn't really think the story of Job was real. Like, people thought it was real. I didn't know that people believed that. Um, I didn't know that people thought that Noah built a literal ark. I thought it was all figurative. I thought it was all just like a fun, fancy story about, dedication and listening to an all-knowing voice. I didn't understand at the time that, oh, I probably should have put some colon there. I didn't understand at the time that people thought God was a real thing. And it was really interesting to me. Once, in elementary school, I would hear kids talk about stuff because kids talk about that stuff just kind of on their own. And I was just so fascinated. I was like, what? What is happening? Like I remember some of those like times where I would just sit there and be like, really? And kids would look at me like, yeah, it's God. And I'd be like for real? Like you guys, like for real? Um, and I wasn't meant to do it disrespectfully. It was just I just didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. I did not understand in the slightest that they thought it was real, until I was kind of confronted with it in elementary school, um, with that idea that it could be, that people believed it, and I was like, huh. And so I kind of just went the rest of my, childhood just thinking, okay, well, I don't think I believe that because I've never believed it, and I don't experience those things that people say that they experience. Um, so I grew up kind of being, um, kind of defaultly being agnostic without really knowing what that meant. Um, and so I would just kind of sit and hang out, um, and when it came of talks of biblical scripture or anything like that, I would just kind of um, default to, does it make sense today? Like when people would have those conversations and I would participate in those discussions, I'd be like, okay, well, because when I was a kid, it was not socially acceptable to be a non-believer, or to even be a believer in question, or a non-believer in question. So I would just kind of approach it like, well, whether or not it's true, does the things that you believe scripture to be preaching? Is it relevant today? Is it relevant to think about today? Is how I always kind of approached it. And as I got older, I started to learn more about different beliefs and obviously different religions and things like that. And so I started to really study it a lot. In college, I became kind of very anti-theist, and even into my 20s. Um, Now I'm a non-believer and I'm an atheist. I'm not so much of an anti-theist. I'm more of an anti-religious abuse because I feel like there can be a difference there, and when I say there can be, I'm like 99% of the time, it is really just people going to church, being in community. The majority of believers are truly good people who sit there and they will believe what they want to believe, but they may or may not force those beliefs onto other people or anything like that. So I don't know. It's uh, and having kids, and we don't put our kids in church because we want them to make that choice all on their own. Um, Mind that we all have our own path and our own lives. Being of my faith doesn't make me a good person. People who aren't of my faith aren't perfect. Yeah, like, uh, yeah, I think that's pretty close to what I was talking about. And like, I've read a lot of books about where morals come from. There's a book that I have. I don't remember the title of it, but it shows circles and it talks about the circles of morality. How we start with immediate morality of ourself, how we govern ourselves, and then it goes into our immediate family. So like your wife or your partner and your children. How you keep them safe, and then it extends to family there, how you interact with them, and so it's in that kind of understanding of morality and keeping people safe and treating people in a way that could be construed as um, uh, 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 evidence for a higher power, you know, can be discussed from an evolutionary standpoint. And so, I reading some of that, I lean more towards that side of it. So, and my oldest one, she's asked me about church. We drove past a church once, and she's like, "What's that big house?" And I was like, "Well, that's not a house. It's a church." She goes, "What's church?" So I told her, and I told her that's where people go, a couple days a week, or maybe more often, and they go and they'll sing songs, they'll they'll hear stories. Someone named a preacher or a priest will get up in front of them and um, give them a talk that discusses a story that helps them understand a certain principle about being a good person, a certain thing about being a good person, and being good to other people and spreading that goodness around. Um, and and that belief comes from a thing that they think is God. Um, and she's like, "Well, what's God?" And I was like, "Okay, well, God is kind of what people imagine is everything." And imagine in a sense of how they are constructing it in their mind, not imagine in a sense of it's imaginary. Um, but we talked about it, and I was like, and some people believe in him and some people don't, and if you don't, great. If you do, great. It is all up to you. No one can tell you that you have to believe in it. It's your choice. If you do believe in it, and I'm gonna that God would want us to treat everyone with kindness and love. Am I perfect? No, but I try. Yeah, and so we talked a little bit about that, like, you know, and she was 4 at the time when she asked me this. So in her four-year-old perspective, she asked a really, really thought-provoking question that, to me as a parent, demanded an authentic response that she would understand. And so we had a discussion, and I was very impressed with how she interacted in the discussion. She asked really, really good questions, especially for a 4-year-old. I was so proud of her kind of mental fortitude on that. It was like, because she was asking very big philosophical questions religious and metaphysical questions from a 4-year-old perspective. And I was just, and it was completely unprompted. Like, I didn't guide that, like, I didn't start that discussion at all. A younger me probably would have tried to take credit for that. Um, but now, living more authentically with that and being a parent and kind of being proud of my own kids' discovery of of such a thing, I think is more important than my own kind of pride in that. But yeah, yeah, it's cool. She and every once in a while it comes up again, but very sparingly does it come up. Just because we don't interact in a church community, so she doesn't have it immediately on the forefront. As she gets older and kids start talking more, she'll probably have those discussions. And I imagine, with her not growing up in the church, she will feel left out. Just because a lot of times kids do things in church groups, like youth groups. I did youth groups all the way up through middle school. Um, Even though, like, my mom knew at the time that I wasn't the most devout, she put me in youth group so I could still socialize. And I like singing songs. I liked doing that stuff. We did community service, which I thought was a really cool and fun thing. So we would do that kind of stuff all the time. And and so my daughter was, I hope that she um doesn't like, I don't want her to struggle. Like, the the protective dad in me, I don't know why I just made a shield. I saw it there and it's like, "Ooh, it's pretty. I need a shield." Um, the dad in me, the protective dad in me, doesn't want her to ever struggle with things like that. But the the side of me that probably has more sense, even though I don't like to give into that, where she needs to experience that social pressure herself so she can come up with a reaction on her own, is probably more important. Even if she struggles, like, I, I at times am very proud to watch my kids struggle because I want to see how they come up with a solution. And it's such a weird sentence to say, that I want my kid to struggle, but I want to see how they come up with a solution, whether they succeed. And if they succeed, I'll congratulate them. If they fail and they need help, I will help them. Um, but I want to see what they can do. And I'm kind of curious how she'll approach that, because she's kind of a goofball, and she may just kind of laugh it off and just never talk about it again to her friends and just be the goofy friend. Um, but or she may get really introspective on it and really become devout or something, and which is great. I'll support her in any religion she wants. Getting married in the Catholic Church, that was a very fun conversation to have to the with a priest, because we had to go, have talks with the priest before um, we we got married. So it was, because they ask you how you're going to raise your children, or they're going to raise your children in the church. And um, and my wife and I had talked about that before because we knew it was going to be asked. So we were like, well, we're just gonna let them come up with their own thing. We don't learn or grow if we don't have trials and struggles. Yeah, I agree to an extent. Uh, like, I want my kids to be able to say, "Oh yeah, I used to play and outside and dig in the dirt and get dirt in my nails um and 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 scrape my knees." Do I want my kid to get hurt and scrape their knees? Absolutely not. Is it going to be the end of the world if they do? Absolutely not. But um, will they learn that as an experience? Absolutely. Does it still suck to see your kid in pain? Absolutely. Um, my toddler is very, very, very tough. She is kind of our little protector right now. She loves her big sister, and so when my oldest gets into some trouble and I have to give her a stern talking to, um, my toddler will often, like, come out and defend her and be like, "No, you stop it, daddy." And I'm like, "Okay, first off, No. Second off, oh, it's adorable. You're protecting your big sister from getting in trouble. Um, and so when she gets hurt, she falls down and she's like, "Oh, my knee, it hurt. I got boo boo." And I'm like, "Okay, let me put some kisses on it." So I kiss my hand and I rub the kisses all over it. And I'm like, "Is that better?" She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Are you ready?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, go play." She's like, "Okay." And so she is super tough. She only really cries if she's if she takes a pretty good hit, or if she's very upset with you. She is a little grump. Okay, so Minecraft talk. We finished the other side of our mine so far. We dropped the ceiling, which I'm very happy that we did. Um, Makes it look a lot better. Like, this is a very grand look, and I'm excited to transition that into this. So I'm thinking stair blocks with a slab maybe right here. So a stair blocks kind of coming around, slab. And then here, I want to add some depth. So I may play with bumping into blocks and hiding textures behind other things, or maybe using trapdoors. Doing something like that. I want to do something, but I also want to hide light back there too, so I don't have to rely on the torches down the center. I want all the light to come from the sides, and it'll give the center kind of a dark hue to it. But if I put light on the bottom and the top and let it bleed through it, it may make it bright enough in here. In here, we drop this down in the middle, so we can put ice blocks down, and then water ice blocks where the stone is, and then water where the white terracotta is to push things along, and then yeah. So what will probably happen is that I will have to make sure I don't have to worry about things getting stuck. Well, I guess anyway, we'll have water. So yeah, um, water down there to shoot things up, and then my main base will be a sphere right at the top. And my main base will probably be where my storage is from mining. So those kind of blocks. So yeah, we did a little bit of mining. We did a little bit of mine decorating. So I feel like we didn't mess with the villagers. Okay. That's what I'm going to do off. Yeah, I'm so excited. I've always had that idea and I've always started it, but I've never completed it. So it's going to run to the center, and then it'll probably run all the way to here, out here. And then I will have a water elevator that shoots all the items up into a sphere of the sky. And the sphere will probably be about 10 to 15 blocks off the surface here. So it's going to start here, and it's going to be fairly big. Like, I'm thinking maybe, and I'm trying to think, do I want to do an even or odd radius, or even or odd diameter? Um, there are pros and cons to both. I have an odd mine, so I may line it up on that off the center here. Because if I don't, it's going to be one block in a bottom 4 section of an even side. So okay, we just made that decision. Bam. Odd diameter. So probably I wanted to do something around 50 blocks, so maybe 49 blocks or so, 49 or 51 blocks, which it sounds like a lot, and it's going to look big, but it's not going to have as much it's not going to have as much room on the inside as what it seems. So I may go a little bit bigger. I'm going to play around in a creative world. I need to download MC Edit and play around with sphere sizes and things like that. I'll do a test world just for the stream channel. Yeah. Okay. So okay. We did a couple rounds of crop harvesting. Let's actually. Oh, I got this. We are going to make signs, and we are going to do this legit. We are going to do this in a way where I feel like I am being a list maker, which I am not. Let's do more than that. Okay, and then I want to take a little bit of this, turn it into this. because I want that to pop. Okay, so we need to iron farm. No, go up, iron farm, then villager breeder, villager breeder. Name Quincy. Ooh, do I want to Quincy EY? No, just Quincy Y. He's a Quincy with a Y. So Quincy Y. Main sphere. Okay. Bam. So that's a list of 4 right there. Okay. And then let's see what else. Ooh, Nether. Explore. And ooh, Nether. Oh no. Yeah. So I need to connect portal because I haven't synced up my portal. So let's do sync portal. That'll be easier for me to remember. Sync portal. And then we can start on our hub. Ooh, yes, our hub. So Nether hub. And then overworld Nether. No, I'm just gonna make that its own sign because I need to explain that better. Overworld portal building. Do I want to do a building? Building. Yeah, let's do a building. So I don't want it to be the same thing that's on the Patreon server for NIMS. Are you gonna build on the Nether roof, or do you think? I might. I kind of like. I'm of the mindset that a lot of the things that we consider bugs in the game, after a while, they become embraced in the game as a necessary thing. Like they are relied on, tried and true mechanics that people rely on for different projects, different things. Breaking Bedrock has been in the game almost since the beginning. There has been a way to cheaty break Bedrock. So, in a way, it is one of the longest game mechanics. It's not the same game mechanic, but the result is the same. So defining it as cheaty, no, I don't think it's cheaty. Is it an abuse of a glitch? Yes. Am I gonna abuse that glitch? Yes. But am I still going to build in the Nether proper? Yes. I want to make like some of the farms can't. Well, I take that back. Some farms can be made easily in the Nether proper with enough mining, enough clearing out, slabbing, whatever. You can make it easily now because you don't have to travel up through the bedrock ceiling to put blocks and then make your farm. It is easier to make the farm on a lot of farm designs above the nether ceiling, but I don't consider it cheating. I think it's an abuse of a glitch, but it's a glitch that the result has been in the game for a really long time. There has been a way to break bedrock in vanilla Minecraft for a really long time. Some way. Not the same way, but some way. So I think that's the mentality I'm gonna take with it on this. It may change. Like there may be like I may see the exploitation of it as something very easy to do. But right now, the way I see it and how I've seen it done, it looks tedious and time consuming, and you are wasting resources. I mean, you do have to consume a TNT to do those things, and there is the risk that you could be blown up in the process, or get severely damaged. So I feel like in every other sense, it is a justified game mechanic instead of a an abuse of a glitch because you consume resources, you have to make some sort of contraption to do it. You can get hurt. Again, you use those resources, and it's been in the game for a really long time in some form or fashion. I remember, like, was it like an update or two ago where if you were able to have multiple dragon eggs, dropping a dragon egg in unloaded chunks would break whatever block is below it, including bedrock. And I thought that that was the coolest game mechanic. I wish they would. I wish they would have made that a proper game mechanic. Like, you have to drop this one specific, very hard to get. Well, very hard because it's the Ender Dragon. Like, it's supposed to be one of the big bosses in the game. Um, and it's the prize. And technically, it's a singular prize. You can't get it more than once. So using that one specific thing to break bedrock in a very, very controlled fashion, like where you have to use a redstone machine to drop it. Like, you have to use an extended piston and then retract the piston to drop the egg, but you have to do it in unloaded chunks where you are, is it 16 chunks away or something like that? I think is a I think that is a crazy tedious process, but makes it worth it because you have to do everything right with a super rare one uh one and only block, one and only thing. I think that's what makes it kind of justified. But yeah. All right. So got lots of glass. We're gonna put that up there. Thank you, Clawley, for watching most of my stream. That's been really awesome. If you want to follow me, I would love you forever. And I will love you forever and call you Sally. But thank you so much for watching. I will have this. Thank you. Uh, I will have this stream posted up on my YouTube channel and the Twitch Minecraft streams. Later on, it takes about 5 to 6 hours to post. All my other videos are there. If you want to give me if you want to give it a like, if you want to subscribe, if you want to um, follow me there as well, that would be awesome. All my social media is right there on the screen: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and here on Twitch. It's not on there, but it's here on Twitch as well. Mr. Retro everywhere. MMRRETRO. That's 2 M's, 2 R's, ETRO. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.